Hello and welcome to Fast Horses Today for Sunday. Today is November 2nd, and this closes out the racing weekend over at Del Mar the day after the Breeders' Cup. Hope the Breeders' Cup was kind to you. I really needed Sierra Leone yesterday. If he could have gotten up, it would have been very kind, but that did not work out there. But, we were really treated to a very nice race there in the Breeders' Cup Classic, treated to 4-year-old campaigns by Fierceness, by Sierra Leone, and by the winner, Forever Young. So thankful to those connections that they brought those horses out as 4-year-olds. It's nice to see. Hopefully we see more of that in the future. It just makes it nice for the sport, for the fans, and for the bettors as well. So we will turn the page and we will move on to today, which is Sunday. As I mentioned, close out the race week over at Del Mar. I've got a couple win bets that I want to make on the card, as well as the late pick 5. So we're going to get started in the late pick 5 in the 5th race. The 5th race has an approximate post time about 2:30 Pacific, so that's 4:30 here. 5th race is a first level allowance race with an $80,000 claim option. This is a 5 furlong grass sprint, so, definitely some fast horses here. A couple horses that I think they had tried to draw into Breeders' Cup races and didn't get in. They're going to help make the race here, thanks to Wesley Ward. He's going to help make this race. So I'm going to put 3 horses in this race to get this pick 5 started. I'm going to put the 2 horse who is Rogue Legend for Wesley Ward. This horse 9-5 in the program. Umberto Rispoli takes the call. Now this horse has run 2 races stateside after coming from off the boat there, running in Ireland and Great Britain. Now Ward had this horse in, tried to get this horse in. Didn't draw into Breeders' Cup races, so he's in this allowance race. This horse has a 3rd over in a grass sprint at Colonial Downs, as well as a 3rd place finish at Keeneland in a grass sprint there. He ended up running up against Schwarzenegger and Obliteration, who we did see in the Breeders' Cup. So Rogue Legend draws in a little softer here. Should be closing here. A couple speed horses there in that race could set it up for Rogue Legend. We'll put him in there. Going to put the 5 horse was Baccio. Baccio also for Wesley Ward, as I mentioned. Ward, thankful to him to make this race here by putting a couple in to fill it. Baccio's 8-5 in the program. Juan Hernandez takes the call. This horse has had 2 starts there in his career. Started out in a grass sprint over at Monmouth. Frankie Dettori ended up getting the mating win, and it was surprised to hear Frankie Dettori has announced that he's retiring. So, best wishes to Frankie Dettori, and really, Frankie, I hope you reconsider and just come back to Santa Anita in the wintertime. I think you'll do very well there. So, I don't know. You got to wonder. Sometimes these jocks, they retire and they unretire, within the same couple months. So, we'll see when the December 26th meet opens there at Santa Anita. Frankie Dettori could be riding. We'll see. But anyway, so Dettori broke the maiden on Baccio, and maybe that was an Italian connection there back in the summertime. This horse followed it up. Ward brought this horse to Santa Anita to run in the Speakeasy. This horse ended up, fighting for the lead with Arkadelphia, finishing 2nd. So nice race there. Got beat by Later Than Plan. Later Than Plan ran in the Breeders' Cup and ran an admirable race there too. So Baccio could be very tough. And then we'll put a long shot here. We're going to put 1 for Lou, who is the 6 horse for Doug O'Neill and Antonio Fresu. This horse has had 4 starts. A sprint one time running over at Santa Anita in a 5 furlong grass race, running up against Hey Nene, who Hey Nene showed up and ran an all right race in the Breeders' Cup as well. And they ended up sending this horse into long races, so shortens up here. Could be a factor as a long shot at 10-1. We're going to put the 6, 1 for Lou. So we're going to try to start this pick 5 off with the 2, 5, and 6. All right, now let's go to the 6th race of the day. 6th race is a 5.5 furlong dirt sprint. These are 3-year-olds only, fillies, and they're $16,000 claimers. So, we'll see what these horses end up becoming. I think it's a wide open race. I'm going to put 4 horses in this race here. I'm going to put the 1 horse who is Saint Mahil for Edward Freeman and Tyler Bays. Now, Bays had the call last time. He ended up winning in a mile at Santa Anita in a claiming race. Shortens up to 5.5. Tyler Bays is one of the few guys that I really like on the rail. He really seems to know how to do it, how to give the horse a breather, how to, give the horse a, kind of an easy turn. He seems to do well with these rail runners. So I like St. Mahel at 7-2. We're going to put the 2 horse who is Sensational ZZ for Francisco Rodriguez. And Kazushi Kimura takes the call. Now, this horse has been running. They keep this horse pretty active, from that barn. And 4-1 here in this race. Now, Sensational ZZ does have a race over at Del Mar that she did win, in these claiming ranks in this $16,000 level. She could certainly repeat here with some of her efforts. Going to put the 6 horse. The 6 horse being Empress of Grace for Steve Knapp, Thiago Pereira. Now, Knapp and Pereira certainly have paired up for a lot of wins, over the years. I know Herrera had gotten dinged up back at the Del Mar meet, so I think he's just kind of, on the comeback trail. So we'll see. This horse certainly could fit here, having run in these claiming level races and running, some even races. So, could end up doing better here at 6-1. And then finally, we're going to put the 7 horse with Thirsty Trickster for Bob Hess. Bob Hess puts Billy Anton Georgi on the horse here. Now, Anton Georgi has been riding this horse for pretty much her whole career. And, this horse has run some nice races, has a good record at Del Mar, 3 starts, a win in 2 seconds. In these maiden claiming rings, has been in and around this level and running well, so certainly could be a factor here at 2-1. So we're going to put the 1, 2, 6, and 7 in the 6th race. Now let's move over to the 7th race of the day. 7th race is a long distance race here. It's a 1 3/8 on the grass. This is a second level allowance race with a $100,000 claim option, which does come into play because I know that a couple of these horses are in for the claim, so that certainly has helped make this race fill. I've got a single here as well as a win bet. That being on the 1 horse was Spycatcher for Mark Lett. Mark Lett puts Abel Lascano on the horse. Lascano has been riding this horse and riding this horse pretty well. I know we had caught this horse back in Del Mar in August. Spycatcher ran a great race, winning a first level allowance race. Now, in watching this guy's film, this horse runs with a lot of heart and really, just kind of is. I guess what the Euros would probably call him as a stayer, because he just seems to run a one pace and just sticks around. He could finish races. He has a nice style to him. But today's a question mark. There really is no speed in the race. Spycatcher does run up close, but doesn't run on the lead. So I'm wondering what kind of tactics they're going to employ here from the 1 hole. This being a small field, a six horse field, I'm going to just figure maybe Spycatcher just goes on the lead, but just by default. But we'll leave that up to the connections to figure out. Either way, I think Spycatcher should finish up nicely in this 1 3/8, and I think sets up very well here. So we're going to make a win bet. We've got 3-1 here in the program, which we might, find that price, and we're going to also single Spycatcher in the 7th race in the pick 5. Let's move on to the 8th race of the day. 8th race is a maiden race. It's a 6 furlong dirt race. This is one of those conditions they created, not too long ago. This is a race which is restricted to horses who have not been purchased for $100,000 or for over $100,000. Or if you want to put your horse in for a $62,500 claim, you can do that as well. Connections have done both. So what this is this kind of just freezes out those $1 million babies that, folks have a hard time beating, but they want to break their maiden and get the horse's career started. So they created this condition here. It's always nice to see new things in horse racing, and this certainly, this condition's been around for a little while. But anyway, in this race, I've got 3 horses I'm going to put in. I feel one of these 3 will get this done and advance to pick 5. I'm going to put the 2 horse was Mimi's Memory for George Papapadromo and Edwin Maldonado. This horse has had 2 starts. In her career debut, she ran up against open maidens. I thought she ran a decent race. She was, in on the rail, which is tough for a first starter. She showed some high speed. Ended up, falling back towards the stretch and got beat by a horse named Rivera. I think, that ended up being a live race there, better than, what she's facing today. She ended up running in this level at Santa Anita, and I thought she ran a very nice race. Fought for the lead with a very fast horse. It kind of just pinned this horse in and, made it a little uncomfortable for Mimi's Memory. So I'm thinking Maldonado should probably work out a better trip here. She'll be tough. Going to also put the 5 horse was Debbie's Gal for Richard Baltus. Juan Hernandez takes the call again on this horse. Change here. They're putting blinkers on. This horse does come out of the same race as Mimi's Memory. They both ran pretty close to each other in this race. Mimi's Memory did beat Debbie's Gal. But we'll give Debbie's Gal another chance here. She certainly could be a factor here at 5-2. I'm going to put the other Papapadromo horse in. He puts 2 in here. That being the 7 horse was Can't Say That for Umberto Rispoli. This horse is 6-1 in the program. This horse comes out of that same Cosmic Heat race. They're putting blinkers on this horse as well. Maybe they're figuring They had blinkers on the first time this horse ran over at Del Mar in that Rivera race. So, this Can't Say That and also the 2-horse Mimi's Memory, both Papa Padromo horses, have run in the same 2 races. I don't know that there's much difference between these two. We'll see difference in odds, but I'm not sure there's much difference in ability. So we'll put the 7 Can't Say That. Maybe we'll get a price in here with that horse at 6-1 with Umberto Rispoli. All right, now let's move over to the last race of the day. The last race of the day is a first level allowance race, and it's a 5 furlong grass sprint. And yeah, sprint is what they'll do. There's a lot of high speed in this race. So, we've got some horses that are putting them, there's an option to claim for 50,000. There's a couple horses that are in for that 50,000, which certainly makes this race go. I'm going to put 3 horses in, as well as I do have a win bet in this race. So first, we're going to put the 3 horse was Proof He Rides for Sean McCarthy and Billy Anton Georgie on the horse here. Now this horse, drops in for the 50,000 claim, so that's what makes him eligible. This horse has a pretty good record over at Del Mar, having won, 1 of 5 starts with 2 seconds at Del Mar on the grass here, and certainly likes the distance of 5 furlongs on the grass, with 2 of his wins coming at this distance here. Now this horse has shown some toughness, at Del Mar in these races, so certainly could work out a trip here from the 3-hole. We'll see if Anton Georgie, can get it done here in this sprint race here. I'm going to also put the 6 horse being Flyover for John Sadler. John Sadler puts Juan Hernandez on the horse. Now this horse, there's a Calbred here. There's many Calbreds in this race, even though this is an open allowance race. This horse comes out of the California Flag race down the hill over at Santa Anita they ran last month. This horse, they really blistered the pace, and this horse was part of it. I mean, if you look at the fractions here, you'll see this horse went out in 20 and 4 and 42 and change. I mean, that's like faster than quarter horse time. This horse was on the lead. So not sure that they'll do that again, because it didn't work out. The horse ended up fading to 6, but Flyover certainly could be dangerous here. There is a lot of speed. We'll have to see the tactics. And then finally, I'm going to put the 7 horse, who is Rearm John. Rearm John comes out of the Victor Garcia barn. This is a family operation there, owned by King Juan Garcia. Ricardo Gonzalez rides the horse here. Now, I've liked this horse now since he started his career. This horse is 2 for 2 in his career. Broke his maiden at Santa Anita at a big price at 34-1. I didn't have him that day, but the film really, got me interested in this horse. This horse ended up breaking his maiden, and I just thought the horse ran with a ton of energy. And it looks like the Garcia's got away with one here, because the horse ran a huge race with a big speed figure and broke the maiden in a maiden claimer. They followed that up with another big race over at Del Mar in 5 furlongs in a starter allowance race. Horse ended up running up again and, doing a great job. They thought so much of this horse. They tried to get this horse in a couple races after that win. They entered into the Green Flash, that's the headliner for turf sprinters at Del Mar and the summer meet. He didn't draw in that day, but tells you how much they thought of Rearm John. They also tried to get themselves into an allowance race that didn't, they didn't get in that one either. So that's why this horse has been laid off here. I don't think it's been any problem. It's just they didn't draw into 2 races they tried to enter. So I'm going to make a win bet on Rearm John at 8-1. Not sure what the tactics are going to be with him. This horse has run on the lead, but I'm just wondering. I think there's a lot of speed inside of this horse. They might try something different, but we'll leave that up to them. I'm going to put the horse in for the pick 5, as well as I'm going to make a win bet on the 7 horse, Rearm John, in the last race of the day. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for Sunday, November 2nd, we've got a late pick 5 that starts in the 5th race, as well as 2 win bets today. We'll get started in that late pick 5 in the 5th race. We're going to start out with the 2-5-6, with the 1-2-6-7, with the single of the 1, Spycatcher, with the 2-5-7, with the 3-6-7. And then we've got the 2 win bets in the 7th race. We've got the win bet on the 1, Spycatcher, and in the 9th race, we've got a win bet on the 7 horse, Rearm John. And I've failed to mention that pick 5 ticket does cost $54 today. I like it. I got that single there in Spycatcher. Could pay something. So if you see fit, you want to play as is, I wish you the best of luck. You can always add or subtract to these. Play the pick 3s within it. Play the win bets. Whatever you decide to do, I wish you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Del Mar a very safe day of racing this Sunday. Let's wish ourselves some good luck and some good trips. As we see, good trips really mean a lot over at Del Mar. So as always, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today. Thanks so much for listening to the picks. We had a really big audience over the course of the weekend. Thank you so much. Several more subscribers. Thank you. You can always like, dislike, make comments. I promise to respond to everything. And do me a favor, if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button. It's free. Let's close out the week strongly at Del Mar, and we'll see you back next week at where the turf meets the surf. Thank you.